Hi everybody and welcome to the Empath Refuge. This is Connie Nash. In today's video, I'm going to talk about something that I've talked about in the past that seems to be very popular and a big area of interest. So I'm going to address it again, but I'm going to address it in a more current way. I have done a couple of different videos on how to choose a career as an empath, and I did 2 videos on this several years ago, and one of them was 10 years ago, I believe. And those 2 videos got more views than any other videos that I've ever done. So I'm going to bring this new version to you today. It's March 22nd, 2023. So this is all about how to choose a career as an empath in 2023. Now, most of you who follow what's going on in the planets, astrologically speaking, and this is not my area of expertise, but it is something that I'm very interested in, and it's something that I follow. We are entering the Pluto in Aquarius cycle, which is going to be huge. If you follow this at all, it's going to bring a lot of change to the planet, and it's going to be affecting us for a long time. But it's positive change. It's a type of change that's going to give those who are really stepping up a lot of momentum, and those who are going to stay stuck in fear, it's going to create a lot of pain. So that's kind of a very easy way to remember. Life is going to get really difficult for those who aren't doing their work, and life is going to get really great for those who are. So my invitation and my strong suggestion is to follow what your heart is telling you. And you may have recently heard I created a brand new website called the Empath Refuge, empathrefuge.com. And I created this website as a, excuse me, specifically as a place for those of you who need support to have support. Because when these planetary alignments continue to move in the direction that they are, life is going to get really painful for people who are energy sensitive if you're not paying attention to what's going on. And if you decide to continue to listen to the call and answer the call that your soul is guiding you to, you'll be just fine. But if you stay stuck in fear and you don't listen to what you're being guided to do, what you're being guided to heal and to shift and to change in your life, then you may find that life will become a lot more challenging than it already has been. And I don't think anyone wants it to be any more difficult than it has been. Dealing with COVID probably was enough for most people, so we don't need anything more added in, right? So how do you choose a career as an empath and as an energy sensitive person? I know many of you have careers as nurses and nurses' aides. I get a lot of people who work in the healthcare industry. A lot of people are drawn to that because being an empath means that we really feel the pain of others, and more specifically, we want to relieve that pain in others. We feel it so much stronger than other people. In other words, we're energy sensitive, which means we feel pain within ourselves, within other people, with animals, and the environment and the planet as a whole. So when there's a lot of pain and suffering going on all around us, we feel that externally and internally. So when we're feeling all of this pain, and a lot of times we don't know whose pain it is it ours? Is it somebody else's? Where is it coming from? What's it about? You could wake up one day and have a great start to your day, and all of a sudden you just feel sad and depressed, and you have no idea why, and you're wondering, what's going on here? I was in such a good mood, and now, all of a sudden I just feel depressed. Like I don't even want to go to work. I don't want to function. It can come on very suddenly, and it can be very intense. So if you're working in an area where people are in tremendous pain physically, such as a hospital, That's a really tough career for somebody who's energy sensitive. You've got to be really, really good at protecting your energy field. You've got to be really, really good at clearing your energy. And if you're not, it's going to be a very painful place for you to be. And I'm not saying you shouldn't choose that career path. I think being a nurse is like the most incredible thing in the world. I've shared recently that I went through a very challenging time about 6 months ago where I found myself in the healthcare system as a patient. And it's a long story, and this video is really about choosing a career path, so I'm going to stick to that. But I'm just going to briefly share here that I got to experience firsthand what it's like to work with nurses assistants, with doctors, with the healthcare system as a whole. And those people are the most extraordinary people on the planet. I could never be a nurse. And they put up with so much. And there's just so much pain that they feel, that they deal with. It's incredible. These people are just incredible. So I could feel the pain in the hospital. I could feel the pain that the nurses were carrying around and the other patients that were near me. And I could feel all of it. And fortunately, I was very, very good at clearing that and not taking it on as my own. So there's a couple things I want to say about choosing a career before I get into anything further with regard to being an empath. Everyone has one purpose to be here on this planet, and that is to awaken spiritually. That is everybody's purpose. So if you're wondering what my purpose is, that's it. Everybody has a primary purpose of awakening spiritually and consciously to remember who we are as divine beings, as pure consciousness. That is everyone's primary purpose. Everything else is secondary. What you do is secondary. What matters most is being aligned with the consciousness that you are. So your primary purpose must come before your secondary purpose. Your secondary purpose is how you express that consciousness in you. And you might want to know, well, how do I know what that is? And how do I know that I'm consciousness? And what is that? And how does that feel? And am I aligned or not aligned? And these are all questions that I'm going to help you navigate through my work as a teacher with the Empath Refuge. That's what it's all about. It's all about aligning with that consciousness primarily so that you can step into a secondary purpose, which is the career that you choose or what you do in this life when you're aligned with that consciousness. When you act when you're not aligned, you're most likely going to be experiencing pain, discomfort, challenges. It's not going to feel joyful. It's not going to feel pleasant. You probably feel like you're in the wrong place. You're probably bored. All of these things are signs that you're not aligned with who you really are as a pure being of consciousness. And that's pretty much most of the people on the planet. When you're an energy sensitive person, when you're an empath, that gets heightened exponentially. Because as an energy sensitive, you're feeling it exponentially beyond what most people would feel. So if you're an empath or a highly sensitive person, meaning you feel energies very deeply and intensely, much more than the people around you. Some nurses are probably not affected at all by what their patients are going through because they're not sensitive, they're not empaths. Doesn't mean they're bad nurses, it just means they're not feeling that. They don't have that ability. But if you're an empath and you're working as a nurse and you're feeling that pain and it's just unbearable, and you come home and you're crying and you're drained and you're fed up and you're like, I just can't do this anymore, that's the reason. So my invitation is to really begin the process, if you haven't already, of figuring out what makes your heart sing. And the way that you do that is you just when you're quiet, when you have nothing else to do, what do you gravitate towards? What do you enjoy doing? What do you find yourself doing even if you didn't get paid? What do you find yourself doing when you're not at work? What do you like to do as a hobby? These are all clues. Now, some people say you should never ever do a job that is your hobby. Keep them separate. I am a believer that you do what you're passionate about. Doesn't matter if it's a hobby or a career or both, in my opinion. I think the most important thing is to do something you love, do something that makes your heart sing, do something that brings out enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is basically the energy of source expressing through you in form. When you are connected to what you're doing with joy, with passion and enthusiasm, you're on the right track. You have figured it out. That means your secondary purpose is aligned with your primary purpose, which is to express yourself at the highest consciousness that you possibly can at the place that you are. And we're always growing and evolving and expanding in consciousness. That's why we're here. So everyone is at a different stage of awakening. Everyone is at a different stage of consciousness. And I don't think it's important to even get hung up on where you are in terms of consciousness at this point. It's much more important to just be aware of how what you're doing feels. If it feels bad, don't do it. If it feels good, absolutely do it. If it doesn't feel good or bad, you just sort of feel neutral, that's okay. It's just an opportunity to explore. So there's no right or wrong here. There's no, if you're an empath, do not be a nurse. If you're an empath, you must do this. There are no rules. Throw out the rule book. There are many empaths that make fantastic nurses. And there are many nurses that could never hack it as an empath. So it really doesn't matter what your career path is, as long as it's aligned with your true self, who you are at the highest level of consciousness that you can possibly be in any given moment, which is just to be connected to your heart, connected to what you love, connected to what feels joyful, what feels passionate, what feels inspired, what feels exciting, like something that would make you spring out of bed in the morning, something that makes you just, I can't stop thinking about it. I just really want to be a coach, or I can't stop thinking about it. I just really want to walk dogs or train dogs or whatever it is. There's no right or wrong here. The only wrong would be to be miserable and do nothing about it. I don't recommend that. That just hurts everybody. So, first and foremost, if you're miserable, stop. If you need a paycheck but you're in a job that you hate, stop. And I'm not saying just go quit, but get a plan in place to move out of what you hate and into something that you don't hate. Move into something that's not quite so miserable. I have had a lot of miserable jobs in my life, but most of them I didn't just up and quit. They usually fired me, which was always a blessing because it always led me to something better. So if you're miserable and stuck in a job that you don't want to be in and you don't know what to do, you don't know how to get unstuck, I would say go home and just be in a total place of surrender and accept that it's not where you want to be. That will automatically start to release some resistance about where you are. Coming into that place of acceptance. Okay, I don't love this, but it's where I am right now. And I accept that I don't know what to do next. I accept that it's miserable. And just start to be like, okay, surrender. Just surrender. And in that moment of surrender, those answers of how to get unstuck are going to start to appear. But you're not going to have access to them if you're like, I hate this freaking job. It's never going to come. So step one is to just surrender and acknowledge that what's happening right now isn't working. Once you do that, then in a quiet space of surrender, ask please show me. Ask your higher self, your guides. Ask your heart. Just connect with your heart. Breathe into your heart. Turn off the mind. Try to stop the thinking and just really breathe into your heart space. Connect with your beautiful heart space. Maybe you can do this right now with me on this video. Okay. And when you feel that sense of peace, that sense of calm, that stillness, and the mind has stopped, and the thoughts have stopped, just quietly ask yourself, please show me. What is the right path for me? What could I do that will bring me a lot more joy? Please guide me and show me the way. And then you just let go and trust that you will be shown the way. Before I close out on this video in particular, I'm going to just share something very, very personal that I think will help you relate to what I'm talking about. Back in 2019, everything was going great. I had a thriving coaching practice. I was just on top of the world. And literally everything got ripped out from under me absolutely overnight. I became homeless. I ended up living in my car for 7 months. All my work stopped. Fast forward to 2022, 3 years later, right? I'm doing really well at this point. I'm in a nice house, and I was really enjoying just being present and having walks in nature and just feeling a lot of peace, to be honest. But I wasn't doing my work. I wasn't reaching out and helping people in the way that I could be. And then I had something happen to me in September of 2022. Fast forward 6 months to now, March 2023. I had a horrible incident, and I talk about it a lot on my website, and it's not something I'm going to get into now. But basically, it was a huge wake-up call that I needed to get back in the game. I wasn't doing what my soul came here to do, that outer purpose piece. Yes, I've been doing a lot of the primary purpose work, but I had no balance with the secondary purpose. In fact, I kind of had completely abandoned my secondary purpose. And it's important to understand you need both. You need both. The primary purpose is critical, but the secondary purpose is also critical, because we need to balance being and doing. We can't just be, and we can't just do. We gotta balance those scales. There we go. We gotta be and do equally. It's like the yin and the yang coming together. It's the divine masculine and the divine feminine and sacred masculine coming together in perfect harmony and balance. That's your purpose. That's everyone's purpose. And that's the best advice I can give you on how to choose a career in 2023, especially with Pluto entering Aquarius and all the changes that are coming and all the magnificence and glory that's available. So, I hope this has been helpful. Please comment below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if it's helped. Share your journey with me. Share your experience. Any questions about how to choose a career, I'm going to read every comment and I will get back to you. Okay? Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.